Before we start to wrap up for the night, and I let Amberly walk us through everything, Ro, I guess I wanted to ask if you had any maybe advice about red flags or any other perhaps signs of manipulation that people could be on the lookout for when it comes to creating that spiritual environment or whatever else. I mean, is there anything that we might be more mindful of, or maybe even just some creases in the fabric that people might notice better for having heard this conversation?
Um, you know, that's a rough one. I'm not really sure because I could tell you things to look for, but then, that sort of hint at the sort of non-spiritual sort of aspect of how churches performed. But it may not be helpful if you're still in that mind frame. That lens is so strong that you can rationalize quite a bit. The biggest thing that I would say is, um, if you have thoughts of skepticism, um, if you suspect that there's something that is not right with whatever is being preached in your church, logically, in terms of just making sense historically, in terms of making sense morally, in terms of how we interact and respect and live with one another as human beings. If you feel like there's something that's not right and it's just gnawing at you, investigate that. And don't let the music and the fanfare and the charisma of the musician, the beauty of the voice, the tone of the voice, or the tone of the instrument, or the moment of the rapture of that feeling in that moment. Don't let that distract you. Music is great. I'm a musician. I'm a practitioner of music. I love it. It's what I do. It's what I am. Um, I'll always be doing this regardless of whatever else I may do. But music can be a distraction when it's time to really pay attention to the world around you and to try to make sense, particularly if your life is on the line, or if your dignity is on the line. And as LGBTQ people, when we go into these spaces in these churches, um, that's on the line. Our life and our dignity, our self respect, and our respect, even among our community and our peers, is on the line. And don't let anybody tell you otherwise. There's maybe like 10 or 20% of all Christian denominations that actually accept LGBT people. And so I don't care how nice your pastor is or how many jeans and khaki shorts, people come to church in, or nice guitars and, beautiful sounding, voices. Never forget that your life and your dignity and your respect is on the line. I have had to say goodbye to many a friendship and many a church for just that, and eventually left it all together. I can still have Christian friends on some general level, but I made some choices in my personal life that I wasn't going to associate with people who thought that I was less than human, and
Mm.
I didn't care how great their church was or how many people cried from whatever song they played at the altar or whatever. I don't care how nice your pastor is or how well he can hoop and holler. I'm not going to that church. I'm not going to be a part of that. And I'm not going to let anybody tell me that I'm inferior. And music can sometimes cloud people's judgment about those things because they feel like, as Deborah was talking about, that spirit is moving and it's talking, and it can, as beautiful as it is, it can really um, cloud your thought process. And so be sure that you keep that in mind. There are people who are paid to make some of those feelings happen, and so you need to be as sober minded as possible when you figure out where you belong. And if you are going to be spiritual, you need to listen to your spirit.
God, I love the way that you framed all of that. Thank you so much for I guess wrapping it up in that way.